Madame Ava L'Affaire.
Hi.
Bonjour. Do you speak French?
Well, I didn't like my teacher. She was too dominant, so it was like a bit.
So you come to my age now?
I mean, I know some words, like a little bit, but I didn't like her, so I was not good in school. So
How did you choose his name?
this name, good question. I feel like I like this French vibe of, those femme fatale and this boudoir kind of, and it's giving me a bit
Aesthetic?
exactly. And I think it fits very well to my aesthetic.
We see it in your on your profile as well.
Yeah,
And
right.
the t-shirts is super, super cool.
I like statements.
But there is a German touch as well, no?
This is what you say. I love it.
I love it too. I love it too.
Yeah, I like it. It's like the only appropriate authority, in my opinion.
Yeah. How did you come up with, let's start all over again. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
Actually, I'm just a cute, shy baby from No, so let's be honest.
I didn't say the periods. I mean,
It's sometimes difficult for me to be serious, no? Like, I
don't
can't
be just be you. That's the thing. That's why.
Wait.
That's why we're sitting here at the end.
It's difficult not to be with you. Like,
Don't blame me.
no, I don't blame you. What's a compliment, no? So, I'm Madame Ava L'Affaire. I grew up in Berlin. I'm a dominatrix. In a, cheeky way, I would say.
How did you come up with this? What's your journey?
My journey. So, I think I've always been kinky already before I did like my money with it. And it very innocently started with internet, like found out about some things, found the right platforms, and started like with online domination, like cam sessions to like safely trying to enter it, which quickly evolved into like small sessions like feet erotic or very quickly even to like golden shower session where I'm just like meeting people for 30 minutes and then
That's a long P.
huh?
That's a long.
There's a little bit of play within, So I think it was very natural. It was meant to happen.
When was the moment where you decided to jump from the digital world to the real world to have an interaction with your sub?
I think I'm also someone who loves to play with energy, like primarily. And when I talk about energy, I don't even mean the words and so on, but just the aura, the presence, the way how someone moves. And I was hungry, actually. I wanted more. It was not enough for me.
Okay. So it came literally from you, and you were not asked to. You just like wanted to jump on it and to.
I mean, people asked me, that's not the thing, but I did it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like the fact that you jumped like then from the computer world to actually having a session. That's cool.
yeah, it was fun.
And how is it nowadays? Like nowadays, because as you mean, like before I was making money with it. That was the start. But nowadays.
I mean, I'm still doing my money with it. In between, I actually also tried full service sex work. So escorting. I did it for 2 years until I was like, okay, we tried, it's not working because I'm quite a tiny person and small, and people mostly expect me to be more like the girl next door kind of, this girlfriend, authentic girlfriend experience. I think they had a bit problem partially with my energy because I'm also very natural dominant and they would have wished a bit more soft kind of person. So I felt that. Not that I was too dominant, but I'm quite loud. I'm saying what I think.
You showed them who's the boss.
I mean, you can wear the pants, but I'm deciding which one.
Excellent.
I'm just saying. So this didn't work out. So actually, when I decided to do this transition to go fully dominatrix BDSM service, even my friend were like, "Huh, we've been already asking ourselves when it's going to happen." Yeah. And I mean, I never regretted to be in sex work in general, even though it also brings its disadvantage and difficulties and so on. But it was always the best decision and even the better to like fully go into dominatrix because I feel like I can, like, I'm very authentic in what I'm doing. I'm fully enjoying it. And for me, this is also a part of like a very underestimated privilege, no? And like a form of like wealth to be able to do a job which you actually like
Enjoy.
to do. Like, yeah, totally. Which also brings a lot of work, no? You have to deconstruct the expectation and shame and societal norms, maybe, depending on which job you do.
Which are like, because like when what you said already, like there's so many things I would love to hear more about. Like in this chain, like expectation from society or the challenges and all the things you had to go through to get where you are. What are the most memorable experiences or like the lessons that you've had where you tell yourself, okay, that was really hard, but this is that's the price I had to pay for, but therefore that's why I'm enjoying it even more nowadays.
So I think the most difficult part is actually being like when it comes to sex work. Let's also be honest, also depends which privileges you have. No, are you white? Are you non-white? Do you have the citizenship? Are you disabled? Are you queer? How do you present yourself in sex work? But in general, for me, I think it's like also as a not white sex worker, like it's even though I'm white passing from skin tone, it's definitely being outside from society, you know? Like people know we exist, but they don't talk about like they don't talk with us, but about us. No. And the stigma was always the most difficult part for me to handle until now. And the fight of destigmatization. I'm very privileged in the sense of that I'm surrounded by very great people who are very open-minded, partially kinky themselves. So it was never a topic in my close circle. But also when it comes to dating, for example, people fetishizing you, dehumanizing you, because people have those right prejudice about sex work. A lot they always had. And that's very it was hard in the beginning to handle that sometimes, especially when you like someone and they like make you feel bad for what you do. I think this was more difficult than when stranger did it to me.
Yeah, because you care, of course. Yeah, because if you have an emotional, I don't want to say dependency, but
The connection, exactly. I care about what they like, how they feel about me, you know? But at the same time, I mean, I've always been quite a confident person, straightforward, but sex work made me even fiercer.
I can imagine.
Like, my boundaries got more strict. I stand more in for myself because sex work forces you to be in that, no? Because you have to take care of yourself and it's a very vulnerable place and you don't get much protection except from like the community. Like we take care of each other. Yeah, definitely. And we teach each other. This is how you get your knowledge, no? There is no one who's like, come on, we're going to teach you how to be a sex worker in general, if it comes to being an escort, dominatrix, or content creator, it's like a family tradition, no? Like a recipe. One started, and you keep giving your wisdom to the next one.
Yeah. I mean, that's beautiful to have a community feeling.
It's beautiful, and I appreciate that.
How big is the community?
We're many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this one very beautiful sentence. A comrade told it once, like a sex worker, right? Activist. They said, if you think you don't know a sex worker, you surely do. They didn't feel just like safe enough until now to out themselves in front of you.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it says a lot.
Says a lot.
Yeah, there are many, like, I get it, many sex workers also not face out, which I get, no? But also because of my heritage, like being Afghan and so on, I already had this detaching from also societal expectation and religious, which you have in every religion, just let me be clear. So the thing, because exactly I let go of all that and I had already this detachment, which was also painful and brought its struggles. But, you know, like, I already disappointed everyone I could have disappointed, you know, like with...
But disappointment, sorry to interrupt, disappointment is a very personal thing. So in this case...
In their case, no.
Does it say something about you?
No.
Or about them?
About them, but also for me, it was like breaking those expectations from them. No?
Oh, well, yeah.
It gave me a certain freedom.
It gives you everything.
It gives me everything.
Now
Because you'd be like...
You have no restraints. Like,
exactly.
now you're yourself.
And you'd be like, fuck, I did it. And it was like less scary as I thought, you know? And this gives me also the freedom to sit here with my face out and be like, hi.
But this is so important because, I mean, I share like in a completely different way, but this kind of thing where I left my home country to do what I am doing nowadays, which was never have been possible there. And where I decided to go a way where it's unsafe somehow, in a way that you're not financially stable all the time. You're independent, you do whatever you do with whoever you want. But this brings like so many great people in your life. And like, this is why we're sitting here.
Yeah.
So you can do what the others don't because we're not conformed to what society wants us to be.
And we also pay a price for it, no?
But we made it. We decided it, and you pay the price, yes.
Yeah, but I'm willing to pay it. Like, it's worth it for me.
Because you get everything else.
Yeah, and because I can live the authentic life, no, and do what I want, and just like, okay, I was born as a woman, so I feel like when you have like a uterus, like no matter your gender, you are born with already this expectation of giving birth and like, you know, this very traditional expectation which you have like in many cultures and in many countries, no, like it's those very conservative believings. And then just like living this life and being like, okay, I'm using my sexuality to like for lust, for joy, for like personal growth, because if you allow, there is a lot of personal growth, no? And like overcoming your fear and realizing partially how much stronger you are than you expected. There's so many ways and opportunities. And that's beautiful. And I think it's magic, it's transformation.
If you talk about everything that's not been put out in a unsafe context, I would say. With unsafe, I mean a very close and personal discussion between two best friends. And this allows us to open up, to talk about the things you deeply feel inside of you, but then you're just free.
Yeah.
And you're yourself, and you enjoy it.
Exactly.
And you live from it. How's that?
It's nice.
Yeah. What does your routine look like? What it is to be a dominatrix?
So, since I'm a neurodivergent, dominatrix is a bit hectic.
She's nuts.
I agree, but I'm funny.
But she is. That's what
joy.
you're saying here.
No, so like mostly when I get a request first, it's also about like communication. Okay, what are you like, what would you like to experience? Is there a certain feeling that you would like to feel in the session? This is important for me to know. Or like how I can trigger people in a positive way, like trigger them out, like pulling them a bit out of their like shell. Because for me, it's all about like when people come to me, it's like they have this armor on, you know, like with all the shame and so on. And I just want to put out them feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly. This can be also very uncomfortable, no, especially in front of a stranger. Exactly. And so I'm taking my notes actually, and then I'm writing a bit down about ideas. Not because necessarily I'm following it, but to already put myself into that position, no?
So you have a consultation before the session.
Yeah, mostly via email.
So a total newbie would like write you an email about what issue they want to experience.
Exactly. And they're also their medical condition, like if there's some restriction, limitations, psychological limits or triggers, very underestimated.
So you have a formula or like kind of
Also,
like
yeah.
things that you ask, because I can imagine that there's like certain, how do you say, not attributes, but like you gotta be safe to do these kind of things, which can be pretty extreme,
Exactly.
depending on how far you want to go.
Also, I like to do like psychological dominance. And right now I'm also practicing a lot like erotic hypnosis. So those are very sensitive topics. I gotta know if there are words or like, even if with smell, you never know, right? Which one can like, can trigger one, no? Because as they said, sometimes the mind is more vulnerable as the body.
100%.
Right, like there are also you don't hurt every place. When you whip, there are certain places on the body you don't do that. Anyway, when I had all this consultation and the day comes, I'm mostly getting ready in the morning, thinking about what I'm wearing. It's actually one of my favorite parts. I love the creative part into like putting myself into a certain
Vibe somehow. Yeah.
and nuance of myself because like I'm very multifaceted. I'm not playing a role. I rather like pull some nuances up and the other down.
Sweet.
It's very nice. I really love to play with that. So I can literally be anyone you want me to be.
Do you ever have some acting courses, or like did you talk to actors or actresses to be able to change your personality?
I had in school some like for a half year a bit of acting, theater. But I think I just enjoy to like explore all the sides of myself because I feel like also people limit themselves most.
100%.
Like you're not only one, you have so many facets. No, I can also be very shy. Even most of people don't believe me, but I can be. So it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful when I'm like done with this process of getting ready and so on, when I'm arriving in the studio where I'm working and I do my makeup, then I'm mostly just, you know, creeping around in the halls, in our holy halls, and see, okay, which toy can I use today? And
So you're preparing accordingly to what the client wants you to do, I can imagine. How long is the preparation?
depends, no? Like they give me input and tell me what they like, but at the end, I also like try to surprise them a bit,
Okay.
but still like similar, of course.
So you have a certain structure before
Exactly.
jumping. Okay.
So I also know, you know, like what are, as I said, those triggers? How do I get them soft?
And you have different contexts as well, like
Yeah.
rooms in the studio. Do you want to talk about a little bit about this?
So it also depends, no? Like we have many mirrors, which I really do enjoy a lot. On the ceilings, on the walls, and we have like theme rooms. For example, a beautiful latex room, which I really, really like. Where we have latex to borrow. We have rooms which are smaller. We have rooms which are bigger, and every room has some like their own vibe and offerings from also BDSM furniture. We even have like a little area where we can provide services like feminization and cross-dressing. And it's like so much, literally, from rooms where you can do role plays from teacher and pupil to whatever.
How long is a session usually? I mean, depending on the client, of course.
Yeah, depending how long they book me and how complex the session is, definitely.
It
So
leaves
I had
so much room for creativity.
as soon I also started with erotic hypnosis, I might get a bit overwhelmed. So it's unbelievable.
How do you prepare for this
Like for
mentally?
mentally. So I like to drink coffee. I like to put on music, to do some photos before that, like to just get into it and remembering myself of my my energy, presence, divinity. Yeah, just really connecting, just coming into my body. And also like, bringing the toys into the room and choosing the music for the session. This is all kind of already.
What kind of music is played during these sessions?
So it depends how it's sauced. It always depends. I like some electronic experimental stuff. Like sometimes I like stuff like Rosa Anschütz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the energy of the music because I feel like, yeah, I'm very sensual, but this experimental touch makes it all a bit more abstract. And I really love it because I feel like it turns me in kind of a devouring creature from the energy, and I love it. But I also like, depending on the client, but like very hard, sensual guitar riffs, very nice, like
Alright.
stoner rock, heavy metal as well.
Makes sense. I do have a certain picture in mind now. It's
It puts me in the mood. It's
okay.
perfect.
And you keep the same music then during the scene as well.
Yeah, I have playlists. It's perfectly created.
I want the name of this playlist.
I can do it to you.
We're gonna link them in. But I was maybe expecting like some Katy Perry of country music, which is like completely absurd.
I beg your pardon, bitch. What's next? Rihanna S&M?
Jesus. Shit, she's done that.
Yeah.
I don't listen to pop music in general, so like I mean at all.
Very, very few expectations for me.
No, it's really like something that's not. I just don't match with mainstream culture, pop culture. By the way, that's an interesting point. I would love to have your opinion on it. What do you think about the whole mainstreamization of the kink scene nowadays, especially with social media?
So I think it's nice that at least sex work gets a bit more visibility, but still it's about how it is done now. So I feel like there is kind of appropriation, which is fine as long it's not connected to racism or like different things. But it also brings like if you use something, like people using a lot if it comes to music industry, like the fashion aspects of sex work culture when it comes to stripper heels, like those big pleaser heels. And I read somewhere once an article, I'm very sorry that I don't know anymore who wrote it, but they mentioned that people use them to wear them on parties, on the streets for photo shootings or music videos, while actual strippers have to hide them in their bag because they're afraid that someone could follow them or attack them or when they leave in work. Or latex in the fashion industry. I mean, it's not exclusive, but there are so many issues when it comes to sex work, to legal aspects, and so on. We need solidarity. We need people who use their platform and the voices they reach to actually either support us, inform us, whatever, or just like at least educate or give us like some platform. Also, when we're talking about the luxury lingerie brands, like some known brands,
Yeah, sure.
they benefit a lot from us.
They
Like
make a lot of money.
exactly because our clients buy it for us. So some brands would not much be without us. And then not using them at like it would start, you can use them as a model, for example, to help them gain a bit more money, a bit more reach, like this exchange, but only taking. It's a bit difficult, no?
See this problematic as well, and we also do see this at clubs nowadays, especially here in Berlin, where their kinky outfits are worn without a real understanding of what it really represents. But also with fast fashion brands offering these, like selling these very bad quality items for very cheap and accessible to very young people that have no education about this, which is fine because they're young. But when you're like in a techno scene, for example, when you have straight guys wearing harnesses and dancing topless on hard techno with these cycling glasses, first row of artists I'm not gonna name. I don't know. I I have my difficulties with this kind of cultural appropriation.
Yeah, I think techno and kinky is a topic itself because it goes a bit further, no? Because there's so many, especially big clubs, especially also in Berlin and Europe and so on, no? Who call themselves safe spaces. And I think it starts there, which is very problematic. Because as long you're not all by yourself, it's not a safe space. Because you can never control the actions of someone else. You don't know what might happen in the next second because it's unpredictable what someone thinks and what someone planned, or So it starts about this awareness to reflect, why do I call my overfilled club everyone highly drugged, where it's not about quality and safety and like a safer space to explore kink and celebrate. Very problematic
So the
topic, no?
space in your mind, like in your opinion, when a space is big, it's not safe because
It's
of
safe.
the amount of people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not safe in my opinion, especially when drugs are involved.
What I've observed on a good example is like, for example, Club Verboten has awareness teams and like also like in the house rules, they're explaining, hey, or like they also like do polls online in their stories, like, hey, what would you say to rookies, like to people to come that come for the first time or like are having their first times, and every time they're saying, do not abuse of substances, let it be alcohol or drugs. And there's really this thing of like, be aware, enjoy the moment without these
It's
to be able to enjoy.
It's also about, like this concept of SSC and King, which means safe, sane, consensual. No? Of course, there are also different concepts, but this is the only, for me, acceptable in such settings. And Verboten is actually the only which I've been going to lately, because you see like very visible awareness teams, like consent is a topic which keeps coming up, boundaries, etc., right? And there is a lot of missing, I feel like this education about this stuff, no? And also lack of awareness teams, lack of like reminding people to be safe with substances, no? And I think especially in nowadays time, also access to internet as well, and all those young people wanting to explore and so on. Those big clubs are the first like thing they will find when it comes to spaces, no? So this will be their first experiences. And I, for myself, the experiences like that in the beginning when I started to explore some certain possible submissive attributes.
Not
Problematic.
not cool.
Not cool. And I wish we could like protect more people, because BDSM is a very, very sensitive topic, and you got to do it with someone you trust and someone who's aware about the responsibility they have and someone who holds themselves accountable.
I mean, to explore your intimacy, let it be just with one person in a closed room, a bedroom, not even in a club, is something. So when you have thousands of people around you doing the same under the influence of substances, it's a big challenge also, like for a club to keep it as safe as possible.
Exactly.
Because, for example, we see different venues in Berlin that do have different purposes as well, where it's sex positive. Of if it's a safe space or not, it's very we can discuss it. I don't think that a space can be 100% safe once you do have a consume of substance.
It's not.
Even when you do have no substance, and like when you have house party where these things are happening, it might be not safe, because if one person comes with the wrong intentions or does something that's not cool, it's not a safe space anymore. So the subject is very complex at the end.
It is.
And everyone comes to a club for a different reason, to find the matching energies, to enjoy the same moments with someone that you do not necessarily know in a public space. I have mad respect for the promoters that do their best to organize a good party.
Yeah.
But I do think, from what I do observe online and with the discussions I've had with you, with other people off camera until now, that there is a lack of communication and understanding and interest as well, because of the fast forward movements on Instagram, and like people just scroll. They don't really interest themselves and they do not educate themselves enough. And that's why I wanted to have people like you on the show, as like to push your scene and to do more.
Exactly.
And to give more awareness. So watch until the end.
Or I'm coming for you.
Is there anything you would like to add about this whole mainstream pop culture subject?
No, I would just wish that people in general would educate them more about sex workers' rights and how much struggles we face also in Germany.
What's the actual legal situation about this?
So in Germany, we have legalization. Legalization doesn't mean decriminalization. Legalization comes with restrictions. So, for example, we have to be registered, which you also can only do with the German citizenship. And also Germany, like sex work is also a job which is like always perceived as very glamour and sugar babies, and this is what they mostly see, no? But there are lots of different realities, especially when it comes to migrant sex workers or trans sex workers, street workers in general. Not having a citizenship in Germany makes it also difficult to register as a sex worker, which means that you cannot pay your rent, for example, from this job.
What's the legal aspect of your What's the legal aspect of your profession in Germany?
In Germany,
Here.
yes. So in Germany, the current situation is that sex work is legalized. Legalized means that it has restrictions. For example, everyone who's doing sex work needs to be registered in a certain registrations place in Berlin. But to be registered, you need to be also registered in Germany, like being
Officially.
yeah, officially here.
To have the Anmeldung.
Exactly. So you need this also Anmeldung as like the registration as a sex worker in order to pay your rent from this money, right? But not everyone has this privilege. We have not only those glamour dominatrix, high-end escorts, and sugar babies, as many people like to see and glorify sex work as well. We also have like a lot of workers who come from other countries who don't have the same options, have to feed their family or whatever. For example, in Germany, you have to be registered as a sex worker because of the so-called Prostitutionsschutzgesetz, which means prostitution protection law, which is not actually protecting us.
How? Or why not?
I will tell you. Oh, good. So we have to be first registered as sex worker on paper. We have like a working paper, which has to be also like, we have to keep going back to repeat those conversations about sex work and health and so on. And you need this one in order to be like a legal working sex worker and to pay your rent. In order to have this one, actually, you also need to be officially in Germany, which is not the privilege of everyone. So when many people see those sugar babes and high-end escorts, very famous dominatrix in sex work, there's this other reality of also migrant sex worker who don't have the papers to register themselves, no? And they're not making the loads of money. They are partially barely like bringing themselves through the month and their family maybe. So another critical problem in sex work is that we have to be freelancer, which means that which is just so problematic in the case of sex work, is not a safe income. It's not a safe income, and we have to kind of pay like 100, 200 at least euro per month to have the access to health systems, which is so crucial in our jobs. So in this case, Berlin is also very privileged through queer scenes to have some certain places where you can go and get tested for free and so on. Very grateful about those spaces. It's so important that they exist. To like, you have to even places where you work have to be registered as a prostitution place, and considered you have two sex workers living in one flat. This could always mean that they could use it and be like, okay, good day, knocking on the door and being like, we have the suspicion that you're using this as a working place. Exactly. And they have the possibility to
Legally,
search.
without any. But how do they want to check? I mean, you have a bed. Everyone has a bed.
That's up to them, I guess.
Yeah, but that's you doing the job, not them deciding if you're doing the job there.
Well, I've never been in the position yet, luckily, not in this one. But it's very difficult, and it's actually a very complex topic. Like, there are some more problematics which I would like to keep talking about, but it's like such a big topic that I would just wish the people would also know to take the initiative and to maybe also check for sex work rights collectives. There are some in Berlin, and they do great education work, very important education work, very accessible. And yeah, I just wish people would like take the time for that.
Who are these collectives?
For example, the sex worker action group Berlin, called SWAG. Can also give you the link on Instagram.
Please, yes. You're gonna link them in the bio.
Yes, and they're doing really important work. Been working with them together as well. So a very intersectional approach as well, which I really appreciate. No, so there are sex workers out there who are talking and inviting people. And yeah, I wish more solidarity just from society and just like, because we do important work. We live in a very shame-attached society and a love-crave society. A society which craves to be authentic. And I think even sex work is even more important, especially because of this shame. No, many people don't dare to talk with their loved ones or partners because they're afraid to be judged. And it's a great way to come to us and being aware, okay, I'm coming to this person, they did craziest things, they did that already. And it's completely normal for them. And when I'm leaving, it's staying there. It's a safer space with someone who is aware about their responsibility in best case. But I always...
The mail address is also gonna be in the description.
So I think this is why it's important to help us. And another point which I would like to mention,
Yes,
especially because when it comes to legalization, there is right now a reevaluation about the sex work rights situation. They're talking about the Nordic model. The Nordic model is basically a criminalization of the purchase from sex work. So our clients might be criminalized and they're trying to get it through next year, I guess.
here in Germany.
In Germany.
Oh, wait, like in the north, it's already criminal to do it.
So the Nordic, for example, Sweden,
Yeah.
there are also great documentaries, for example, from Arte, which also displays a very famous case. In France as well. And those people who are pushing it through, so-called swerve, sex worker, exclusionary, radical feminists, trying to push that through, and those systems are already in, for example, France and Sweden, as I said, and they keep claiming that like the numbers of human trafficking going down, or like also the sex working numbers, etc. But it's not true, because when you're criminalizing something, is pushing it even more down in the underground, which means you're endangering sex worker more than you're actually saving them. This is what I also mean with protection law.
Yeah.
And they want to put this Nordic model on it. And it's not about protection, it's about controlling our bodies and controlling our income. It's about capitalism and patriarchy.
Which happens in a lot of underground cities.
Exactly, and it will be also instrumentalized for deportations as well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so
Go vote.
yes, go vote, support sex workers, make people aware about that. We're necessary, and even if you try to get rid of us, I'm gonna promise you, we will not.
Just gonna smack your ass.
We will all.
I have two more questions for
Please.
today. One of them is how do you build trust and set boundaries with clients?
Again, please.
How do you set trust and boundaries with clients?
For me, it's important to just actually show them that it's okay to have the needs that they have, and like encountering them in a very non-judgmental way, and just like also with a very like detailed conversation before, so they see, okay, this person knows what she does, like what she does, and cares, So, and also every time when my guest comes, I also always check in. Did you drink enough water today? Did you eat enough? How are you feeling? Did your boundaries change? So just being very aware of their needs, because as a top, you have to put your own needs a bit away, because you're holding space in the sense. And that's the most important thing for me, to show them that I'm aware about the trust that they're gifting me. And I appreciate it a lot because I'm aware what kind of very deep, intimate thing that is now. It's beautiful.
It is, it is, it is, it is. And what kind of advices would you give to someone who's willing to explore your world for the first time, or some kinks?
So when I was a baby, I think what I would have done differently, I was too excited. I was too excited. I wanted to try everything out. So I was focusing on what I want to explore rather than thinking first about what do I don't want. And I think that's very, very important. Even it's so exciting, it's so much to see. It's important to sit down and be like, okay, what are my boundaries in the sense of, okay, how far would I like to go? In which pace? What are things I really don't want to? And maybe even make it notes, because taking notes also helps to like just get it a bit more in the subconscious.
Journaling helps in general, so write your thoughts down. This helps.
Even if you can't make it daily, just try as much as you can. You get there.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, even if it's not writing down, but just like with this beautiful technology that we do have in our pocket, to use the mic and just like speak it out and having written somewhere when you want to go back on it and read it again, you have a better understanding of who you are, who you really want. But to be like what you really want and what you don't want. So this can be expected like on professional, personal, sexual life.
Completely. I feel it's always more important to find out what you don't want before you get to know what you want.
I honestly never thought about it because I made my experiences before and then I was like, okay, this is something I'm not willing to do anymore. But like, I have the feeling that my boundaries are like pretty settled, but I'm just like open to explore. So it's a healthy, I figure out it for myself, like it's a healthy way of approaching life.
Exactly. Like for me, I myself am more the person punched through a wall. Also when it comes to Also when it comes to self-development, and like reflecting my own shadows and work I have to do, I'd rather be like, I don't like to be touched with like soft gloves, like, but I also know it's not the approach of everyone else. I have a bit different reality. I have a different resilience. But this is what I'm saying. When you're new into something and I don't know you, so rather start with what do you don't want so you can safely start slowly to explore what you want.
It makes totally sense.
Right? There's so many like creeps out there. Please stay safe.
Do you have any last words?
Stay naughty. Don't be ashamed of your needs. Yeah. And think less of what other people want from you or think of you, like in a sense of expectations, how you are and how you live. You will experience a great freedom.
Did you see this meme of the guy with the mayonnaise all over the body? Did I send it to you?
Bitch, I sent you
You sent it?
I sent you this one. I sent you this one from a working Instagram profile. You don't want to see my feet there. It's terrible. We're full of kink on cats and like, god damn it, and weird stuff. I'm just a weirdo, like, it was never about growing up, just mature. Not growing up, mature.
Stay safe, folks.